All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're jumping into a really fascinating corner of the global economy, one that, believe it or not, touches our lives every single day. From the clothes you're wearing right now to the coffee maybe you just drink. So let's get into it.
So let me kick things off with a question for you. What do your t-shirt, the tires on your car, and that essential morning cup of coffee, what do they all have in common? I know, it sounds like a pretty random mix, but they are all linked by this one really unique and powerful economic force.
And the answer? Well, they all come from a special group of agricultural products we call soft commodities, or just softs for short. And in this explainer, we're going to unpack exactly what they are, why they're so different from other crops you might know, and how they quietly pull the strings on everything from global trade to your daily routine.
So what are softs exactly? Well, the term basically means commodities that are grown, not mined out of the ground. For our purposes, we're zeroing in on the big five. That's sugar, coffee, cocoa, cotton, and natural rubber. And what's really important to get is that these guys are shaped by a very distinct set of biological and economic drivers that you just don't see in other markets.
Okay, and this is where it gets really interesting. See, softs aren't just another category of stuff that grows on a farm. They are structurally, fundamentally different from crops like wheat or corn. And it all boils down to these three defining features that make their markets incredibly unique and, often very, very volatile.
Let's break down these pillars. First up, multi-year cycles. Think about it. A coffee or cocoa tree takes years to grow and produce. A farmer can't just see a high price today and decide to plant more for next year's harvest. It just doesn't work that way. This creates a huge lag in how fast supply can react. Second, they rely so heavily on manual labor, often in tropical parts of the world where, infrastructure or political stability can be a real wild card. And third, and this is a big one, supply is incredibly concentrated. As you're about to see, just one or two countries can dominate the entire global market for one of these commodities.
And here's a great way to see just how different they are. Look at grains, right? Corn, wheat, they operate on an annual cycle. A farmer can react to high corn prices this year by planting a lot more corn next spring. Simple. But with coffee, a price spike today might not bring new supply online for 3, 4, even 5 years. It's that slow response that makes softs structurally volatile. Their price cycles can last for years. Grains, on the other hand, tend to be more seasonally volatile. It's a totally different ballgame.
Okay, so now that we've got that foundation, let's zoom in on the big three food-based softs. Each one has its own fascinating market story, driven by its own unique quirks. First up is sugar. Now, sugar is special because it's really the only soft commodity with this deep structural link to the energy markets. It's a true dual-use product. And it all comes down to this. The main driver for the global sugar price, which is benchmarked by that IC number 11 contract, is a simple choice made by mills in Brazil. See, they can crush sugarcane to make one of two things, either sugar for food or ethanol for fuel. So when oil prices are high, guess what? They make more ethanol. When oil is cheap, they switch back and make more sugar. That one single decision in Brazil can effectively set the price for the entire world. It's incredible.
Next, let's talk coffee, probably one of the most weather-sensitive commodities on the entire planet. The market is basically split between two main types. You've got the higher quality, smoother Arabica, and then the more hardy, higher caffeine Robusta.
So the single most important word here is weather. Because coffee trees are just so vulnerable, a single weather event, like a freak frost in Brazil or a bad drought in Vietnam, can wreck production for several seasons. And that's why you see these wild price swings in the futures markets for both Arabica and Robusta. The fate of your latte's price is often decided by a weather forecast thousands of miles away.
Now for cocoa, the magic ingredient for chocolate. If coffee is a bet on the weather, then cocoa is a bet on geography. Its supply chain is one of the most concentrated and, honestly, structurally fragile in the world.
I mean, just look at the major producers, Côte d'Ivoire and Ghana. These two countries in West Africa, they are the entire game. Their local weather, their government's policies, any disease outbreaks there, that completely dictates the global supply of chocolate.
And this chart just drives that point home. Together, Côte d'Ivoire and Ghana account for 60% of the world's cocoa. 60%! That kind of extreme concentration means any little disruption there sends immediate, massive shockwaves through the entire chocolate industry. No joke. All right, let's switch gears. We're moving from food to the factory floor with our last two softs. Cotton and natural rubber. These are the commodities that directly connect the farm to global manufacturing.
First, cotton. Its main output isn't something we eat, but an industrial input, that fluffy lint that gets turned into the fabric for our clothes. And what that means is its demand is totally tied to retail trends and the overall health of the global economy.
And what's so fascinating about cotton is its key driver. It's in this constant battle with synthetic fibers, especially polyester. Now, where does polyester come from? It's derived from crude oil. So when oil prices fall, polyester gets cheaper, and that puts a ton of pressure on cotton prices. It's this direct, surprising link between the farm field and the oil field.
And finally, let's talk about natural rubber. It's tapped from trees, mostly in Southeast Asia, and its story is pretty much all about one thing: cars.
Yep, the #1 end use for natural rubber is making tires. So as you can imagine, the demand for rubber is locked firmly in step with the global auto cycle. When people are buying more cars, demand for tires, and therefore rubber, goes up. It's that simple. And its price is heavily influenced by what's happening on exchanges in China and Japan, which really just reflects where the world's manufacturing power is today.
Okay, so we've looked at each of these commodities one by one, but the real magic, the really cool part, is seeing how these seemingly separate markets are all tangled together in this invisible web of hidden forces.
Think about it like this. A huge weather pattern like El Niño can cause a drought in Southeast Asia that hurts rubber production, while at the same time bringing heavy rains to Brazil that impact coffee and sugar. Or a strong Brazilian currency might make farmers there hold on to their coffee, tightening global supply. And like we saw, energy prices are a huge factor, hitting sugar, cotton, and rubber all at once. It's a really complex, interconnected system.
So the big takeaway is this: softs aren't just about farming. They are this unique asset class that gives us a window into these long, powerful cycles driven by everything from climate and currency to demographics and global industrial demand. Understanding them really means understanding a core piece of the global economic puzzle.
And that brings us right back to the beginning. The next time you pull on a cotton t-shirt, or have a piece of chocolate, or sip your coffee, just think for a second about the incredible journey it took. Because hidden inside these everyday things is a massive story of weather, economics, and politics that stretches all the way across the globe. So the real question is, what global story will you see?